What is going on, my broskies? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. So if I said to you guys, is there any possible way that my boy, Mr. Slam Jam Katakuri, could get even better than what he already could? You probably would say probably not. The thing is he definitely could. He recently got a Limit Break expansion along with some other characters that we're going to be talking about in this video, and honestly, this is one of my favorite Limit Break expansion packs ever. Not only because Katakuri got a buff, but V2 Akainu got a buff, Hody Jones got a buff. A lot of characters that I've used a lot in the past have gotten a buff, which is actually freaking awesome. So in this video today, we're going to be talking about them. Massive shout out to Xistens. Anyways, I apologize for butchering that name. We're going to be talking about each of these characters in greater detail. Link to this particular Reddit post will be down below in the video description for you guys to check it out for yourself, as well as see the comment section as well. But first of all, let's talk about these rare recruits before we move our way up to the Sugo Fest exclusives. Int, Rare Recruit Pedro. I suppose I should put this out the way as well. All the characters in this Limit Break expansion set are all Strength and Int. Obviously, because of the release of the Anniversary Legends, all revolving around Int and Strength, kind of makes sense why they've done this. Now, this Int Rare Recruit Pedro is interesting because he's actually really good with the new Anniversary Katakuri. He has a special ability that gives you an orb boost as well as sets your HP to 1. So with Katakuri, it enables him to get that low HP threshold, which is what he's looking for. This guy doesn't get really too much. He gets some stats. Reduce Sailor Despair by 1 turn. Nah, not really that good with his potential ability. That's whatever. No one really cares about that. The Int King Punch, I mean, that's supposed to be Elizabello. I think he forgot his name is Elizabello. So Int Rare Recruit Elizabello. He gets -3 cooldown. I forgot to say Int Pedro also gets -2 cooldown, which is very good. Additional stats, Sailor Despair resistance. Most of the rare recruits that get their Limit Break expansion are not really that exciting. Int Rare Recruit Don Chinjiao. This unit is so freaking old. 200 additional attack, 5 cooldown is kind of crazy. That doesn't really matter too much. Int Rare Recruit, this is the 3-day 2-year Robin, which is actually a pretty decent unit to this day. Additional stats, -2 cooldown, so I believe she goes down to like a 9-turn cooldown or something, which is just ridiculous. And also reduces ship bind, that's fine. So the Strength Don Sai gets also some stats, -6 cooldown. Unfortunately, this Don Sai is not very good. No one's really using this guy. Also reduces Sailor Despair resistance. The old Strength Ores, trash, just disregard everything about that character. The Strength Brook, this is from Whole Cake Island, the one that gives you a color affinity boost and changes block orbs. -3 cooldown, reduces ship bind as well, that's pretty good. The Time Skip Chopper, which came out with either Legend Zoro V1 or Time Skip Luffy, one of the two characters. I don't remember who he actually debuted with, but he was a pretty decent unit. He removes blue and rainbow shield by 3 turns, and he does a bit of damage. He gets -8 cooldown, which is just ridiculous. So that's pretty good. That's actually not too bad, as well as his additional stats. Then, TM Big Mom and TM Blackbeard both get the exact same Limit Break expansion with the same stat increases and -2 cooldown. That is honestly very good. I think that when TM Big Mom gets her Limit Break expansion, when it comes to global, I'll definitely be using materials to do that, because -2 cooldown already on a character that is as good as her. I still think Big Mom is the best TM unit in the game, just of what she can provide for your team. Very low cooldown already, and now she's going down even further, plus additional stats. What more could you really ask for, you know? Like, TM Big Mom is phenomenal. But now we've got the Sugo Fest exclusive. You guys can see the first one here, Akainu V2. So we've got Katakuri, which we will be talking about in this video, as I said. Let's talk about Akainu V2 real quick. So, V2 Akainu, he was definitely getting outdated. Let me go ahead and just reduce this size a little bit. He was definitely getting outdated. So he is a 3.25 times attack boost to Int and Strength. He makes Int and Strength orbs beneficial, and then depending on how many perfects you dealt, each turn he would do end of turn damage. So if you hit 6 perfects, 500 times his attack is dealt as damage, and if you calculate it out, it was about 1 million damage per Akainu. So if you have 2 Akainus and you hit 6 perfects, you do 2 million damage. Each is 1 hit of 1 million damage to the unit. So he's a good captain, really nice captain ability, but 3.25 when you compare to some of the other characters they're releasing now, like most characters that release are like at least a base 4 times attack boost. So he's definitely getting outdated. But remember, all the Anniversary Legends are int, and strength. So this guy works very, very well with the new characters that have been releasing, especially the int ones being Katakuri and Blackbeard. And another really good thing as well is his special ability. His special ability is not outdated. Like, this is still a very, very useful special ability. But the thing is, he gives you either strength or int orbs, which you don't really get much use of unless if he's the captain. But now with his limit break expansion, he actually gets a buffed captain ability where he boosts the attack of int and strength by 3.75 times instead. Previously, as we just said, was a 3.25. So this is a humongous boost to the character, as well as additional cooldown reduction. So he goes down from a 14 down to a 12 turn cooldown. And remember as well, he does get 200 additional attack, which does counter into, you know, him actually dealing damage towards the enemy. This will add an additional about 100,000 damage on top of his already withstanding 1 million damage. So with 2 Akainus with limit break expansion, you're dealing around 2.2 million damage, which isn't a huge increase, but you know, it's worth noting anyway. So V2 Akainu definitely gets a good buff, but it really depends, right? Because if you're pulling a lot of these new legends, you probably want to limit break expand all these new characters that are dropping, because all these legends debut with limit break expansions now. So I feel like it's kind of tricky trying to balance out whether do you know, go ahead and save your materials for the newer characters, or do you use them on the older characters? You know, you could probably make a pretty good argument to the fact that, you know, the newer characters, they're already so good, they probably don't need limit break expansion, and it's probably worth spending on some of the older units. But that's up to you at the end of the day. For me personally, I would like to just get the new units and then max them out straight away, but I can understand the argument for both characters, or for both sides of the argument here. Moving on though, we got Sabo and Koala. Unfortunately, they don't get any buff to their captain ability like they needed it, right? Sabo and Koala just get some stat increases, so 200 additional attacks always good, 350 health, a little bit of recovery, and -1 cooldown. What does their initial cooldown go to right now? 13 turns, so they're getting to a 12 turn cooldown. This unit is so good. Like, this unit just doesn't miss a beat. Like, literally in every update, I feel they're always releasing either like a new free spirit or a new cerebral unit that just this guy can abuse, or other characters can abuse this character with. Even like all the new anniversary legends being int and strength once again, int and strength, specifically with Snake Man. Being able to utilize this is just crazy, because they have such a really powerful special to change block and badly matching into matching, and they remove all duration of beneficial and non-beneficial orb enabling buffs, which is ridiculous. It is so good. On top of also their type boost, which the new Snake Man is also a free spirit unit, so you can utilize this for their attack boost. So yeah, Sabo and Koala, they're still very good, and they didn't really need a limit break expansion, but they got one anyway. Now, moving on, Hody Jones, 6+. So Hody Jones is a character that you probably don't see too often as a captain anymore, as unfortunate as it is. Before we got access to characters like TMNL and stuff like that, this was like the go-to speed farming captain. I mean, like Carrot is now one of the best speed farming captains, or even Kaido, for example. This guy was like the OG speed farming captain. So 2 turns at the start of the fight is reduced. He needs a powerhouse attack booster, 3.25 times attack, but you need 6 powerhouse characters on your crew. He reduces your crew's HP at the end of each turn as well, so that's one of the big downsides to the character, but you do have a humongous HP pool, 2 times health to powerhouse, so you do have a lot of HP, but you keep reducing your health every single turn, and 3.25, as I said, now again, it's just not good, in terms of a multiplier, just compared to what we have currently. So what did they do to buff this? So instead, he's going to be a 3.5 times attack booster, previously 3.25. He reduces cooldown at the start of the adventure by 3 instead of 2 turns, which is very good, and he boosts your health by 2.5 times. Previously 2 times. The amount of HP that this character is giving your crew is ridiculous. That is absolutely crazy. Now, this is a very preliminary sort of captain ability. I don't know if he still has this restriction of you needing 6 powerhouse characters. If that actually gets removed, this character honestly might see play, because if you guys don't know, this character actually helps proc the ability of the new legend Blackbeard. The new legend Blackbeard is also a powerhouse character, so you could definitely run a team with like Hody Jones captain with a friend Blackbeard, and you can do some really cool shenanigans with that. So that is an option, but it's probably not an option that many people are going to adopt, but it's there. I remember since people found that out before we knew what his limit break expansion captain ability was, people were hoping that this character was going to get a really good buff. I was hoping this was going to go up to maybe a 3.75 or a 4 times captain. You know, we had like Legend Marker with his super evolution going up to a 4 times captain, so unfortunately not the case. And remember, Akainu V2 doesn't even have a 6+ yet, so he could even be better as time goes on. We'll have to wait and see, of course. Okay, so now we get to the big main man himself, Katakuri. So most of you guys who have been fans of the channel for a little bit would know that this guy's probably one of my favorite characters in the game, if not my favorite character in the entire game. Obviously, the new Katakuri's pretty freaking good. So let's talk about this Katakuri and what he got as a Limit Break expansion. And yes, he did get a buffed captain ability. I can't believe what they've done here. So first of all, boost the attack of those classes that he normally boosts by 4 times. Previously, it was a 3.8. So if we have a look at this, he is a 1.95 times attack booster to each of those separate classes, meaning that if they have 2 of those 5 classes, it's 1.95 multiplied by 1.95 to give you the attack boost of 3.8 times. Now what they've done is they've just buffed it to a 2 times attack per class given, being 4 times if they have both of the classes. Already freaking amazing buff. He didn't even really need a buff, but again, when you compare it to some of the characters on JP, I guess he kind of deserved it. And that was the thing, is initially that's all we thought was buffed, and I was like really happy with that. But then they went even further. They literally took it a step further. They changed the actual requirements that you need in order to reach the delay mechanic. So if we have a look previously, you'd need 1 million damage to get the guaranteed delay and 2 million damage to get the guaranteed delay that bypasses all immunity buffs. This was what was altered. So now you only need 750,000 damage to get the guaranteed delay and 1.5 million damage to get the delay ignoring all debuff protection. This is what's crazy, is because they buffed his multiplier and also reduced his requirements to get the delay. So reaching 1.5 million damage, that is going to be super duper easy. With a 4 times captain, you wouldn't even need to activate any special abilities in order to reach that. Like, that is so good. With his previous mechanics being 2 million damage, sometimes you'd be able to get it if you got like a full border matching orbs and a few characters with type advantage. You could reach 2 million damage without any specials. But now that it's 1.5 plus he's a 4x captain, 1.5 is so easy to get. Like, that is ridiculous, man. And you gotta remember, he also reduces all damage taken by 20% all the time and makes 4 of the 7 natural orbs beneficial all the time. This has to be one of the best Super Evolution plus Limit Break expansion buffs that we have seen. If you compare to what his kit is right now compared to what his original base form 6-star character is, they're 2 completely different characters, right? They are worlds apart in terms of how these characters are structured right now. Now remember that with this Limit Break expansion, the old version did also get a buff. So I believe the old one is a 3.3 times attack. He gets brought up to a 3.6, I believe it is. So it's a little bit of a buff for the old one, but remember that this guy with his 6+ is just a better unit because the attack multiplier is higher. The requirements are also the same, I believe, for the previous 6-star version as well, but this is so good. I'm so pumped for this. Cannot wait for this to come to global. And as I said earlier on in the video, it is kind of hard to kind of distinguish whether you want to use the limit breaking materials for the newer characters or some for the older characters. I feel like if this comes to global, I pretty much have to go ahead and use his key to limit break expand the character. But there is still another problem, is because Limit Break expansion is such a divisive thing and it does require so many materials. I feel like not many people are going to have the materials in order to Limit Break expand a character like 6+ Katakuri, unfortunate as it is. But then again, you can still use him as a hybrid with another captain, because what do you require? Yeah, Slasher, Striker, Driven, Cerebral, Powerhouse. That is a little bit of a downside because you can't even use the V3 Katakuri with this guy, because V3 Katakuri is a fighter driven. So you do get driven, but he doesn't boost fighters, so that's a little bit of a downside there. He does boost Powerhouse and Driven, so you can actually use the new Blackbeard with this guy, potentially. But then again, you are still restricted to then a color and then those classes, so it's quite a restriction, but even still, I'm a big fan of this. I'm such a big fan of this. And then you got to remember the stat boost as well. I think he has the 2nd highest attack in the game because you have to add 200 because of his Limit Break expansion plus an additional 200 because of Cotton Candies, leaving him at 2,333 attack. So I believe with all when it's all said and done, I believe he has the 2nd highest attack in the game, or he's in the top 5 at the very least. Katakuri's the GOAT. Katakuri absolutely solidified as one of the best Limit Break expansion and Super Evolution buffs that we have seen in a very long time. So that is going to wrap this video up. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below in the comment section of each of these characters that have come out. Which one's your favorite? I think most people would say Katakuri is their favorite here in terms of who got the best buff. He definitely did. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video today. And if you guys did, make sure to leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all the content that I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But on that, guys, I will see you guys within the next video.